Good afternoon, Chuck and Mike. This is Joe. Hey, I want to do a quick video review. I see your email right here, Chuck. I like it. Let's get together. First thought, leads from website seems low, isn't standard around 50%. And yeah, if you are organically, playing the game, is your SEO and your AdWords campaign been working for enough months out of the year with appropriate budget and the right strategy to generate that for you? Otherwise, you have to do pay-per-click, pay for that to be there, or your organic will do it, and then you can do one or two things: move that money elsewhere at other things to maintain the position, or you can reduce that spend, because you don't always have to be number one, position two or three on ad search, and driving people to your website can work just as well as position one without the cost. But a couple things I wanted you to see in this, let's see. Okay, I'll review this afternoon. I think that's where the report is. Is it in there? Nope. Let's see. Let me find that report. I wanted to show you at least one thing. Well, where did it go? It's not in that trail. That's Auburn. That's Auburn. Could have swore it was right there. Am I just missing the email trail? Maybe it's further in the trail. Well, there's a report that he sent that I was concerned about, that you had a tremendous increase in TrueCar. And TrueCar is not a difficult lead source to convert on. I can't seem to find it real quick. It must be sitting somewhere else. But the issue with that is, Chuck, that the conversion on TrueCar is relatively high if you have a process in place that works. You had almost double increase in the last 90 days in those leads, but you sold less cars in the last 2 months. So that's something to inspect there. There is a couple of good processes to use. In reference to your website, should website traffic be as much, as you are thinking? And yeah, it can be. But take a look at your websites. I would recommend, let's get a heat map report from Dealer Inspire. They can do it for you. This is a little busy. You want to always take a look at what you have and see if it works on the mobile size platform. And so when you get to the mobile, this is what people see in mobile. Okay. Don't know if there could be more than that. I mean, is there a click to call number? That's a click to call button. That's the map and locations button. So those are good within the thumb's reach of the right hander predominant users. They'll get to that. They can do those down there unless the chat tool pops up. New use special offer service, right? So you should be able to do that and get to it relatively quickly. One of the things about that is Dealer Inspire is automatically dynamic and adjusts to those sizes. That's why a lot of people like it. Your rotator specials is here more like a banner-like instead of this entire thing being a rotator. I'm a little confused about body year, make, model. Maybe it's just me. But if I'm smart enough just to click the search button, it will take me to new cars, or can, and you can see the loading time there. And if I'm over here, you've got a video and that cool picture of Greenfield. They do not show up in the mobile platform. But let's say I didn't know to click anything here, and I flip down a little bit and I click the button for new vehicles. So mobile, it's a bar. Here it's a icon box, right? Picture. So it takes me to the 2018 Honda Fit. You can see here Auburn is first, Greenfield is second. On the Auburn site, here you've got Auburn first, Greenfield second. If I'm on the Greenfield side, I need Greenfield to be on top. Okay. Both of them have a line drawn through the price. I don't know if that's your covenant pricing that you're not allowed to show MSRP. If it's a 2018, you can. Mike, you could actually put get pricing, right? A button, and then it takes them to a separate landing page. As long as here you are within covenant pricing, you can make that second landing page or that little box or pop out that you want to do that Dealer Inspire can provide you with very easily. Just request it and they'll do it for you. But I can click that and I can make whatever my pricing I want it to be, as long as it's not on the main page. You're compliant. So that's really important. You can get competitive if you need to. I don't know that you need to. Every button that you got, though, gives me the same form. Test drive has 2 questions, but there's a form, and we all know filling out forms is dropping and going down, filling out form, and that form does not look very good, and it's not very easy to do on the mobile. You know what I mean? Especially if I'm driving. And you know people are going to be driving, filling out, clicking around, and they get to this. See what I mean? And then, request our best price. So it doesn't matter. Hold the car, request best price, check availability, schedule test drive. All of them are the exact same credited thing, right? Might want to challenge that a little bit. Both websites are exactly the same. This one purports a $219 payment on the exact same car that's at the sister store within 2 hours of each other. This one doesn't have a payment. So I don't know, I got lucky and I clicked a line draw through the price. Is that the real price? Well, it looks like, I guess it is, but the main page kind of makes me feel like it's not. Let me go here. Let's see what this one says. Hey, it is a real price. Let's say I'm bouncing between each other because I got the little click over here on the previous page called the SRP. But this is $219 a month, and I'm comparing you guys. This is $295. Where would I be sending that traffic? Especially if I'm between Greenfield and Auburn. Now, if I'm west of Greenfield or north, I don't know. Now, I know you've got different association money, but that's not up to the consumer to understand that. This is the message we're purporting, right? And I would want to challenge, you can get a report from Dealer Inspire. How many leads are you getting from those form requests? All 4 of those buttons. I would want to know that. I think it's pretty important because this could be a reason why you're missing capturing some people. Instead of a form field, I'm going to want some direct communication like texting, like chatting, and be able to be communicative with the guest as quickly as possible because they're just showing up, as we can tell by other numbers. This right here needs to be a message that's received and arrived at the dealership level, and then we can see that in VINs, right? I did a month to date over here for Greenfield. This matches your report pretty closely, Mike. And so I like that that's, it looks like that's 47%. It's almost half. It could be higher. Who's doing that communication skill? Is there somebody as strong as Matt, supposedly, that you told me he's strong, Chuck? At Auburn, is Vito, I guess the GSM now, is he that good? And then who does as good for Matt and Vito when they're on their day off? This right here to that is not what I would expect. Then of course the tumble effect looks solid. So if I could get that number up, it doesn't matter if you used a BDC traditionally like 2-3 years ago. That was the way. Now today most people are using salespeople and managers to do it because of cost. But you still need the same result. They got to get the communication and they got to get the people here. If they're penciling over the phone, think about it this way, Chuck. The best person to negotiate over the phone is the manager. But if I've given my best number, when the people hang up or I push send on the computer, what control does that desk have? About this much. Make sense? Numbers look almost identical over at Auburn. So there's a small adjustment there on the internal side, reaping the benefits of what's being driven. So if I take a look month to date, and I do have this set up to month to date, as you can see, that's more than half. Man, somebody's talking to a lot of your people, but we're barely bringing anybody in. Or are we bringing people in, or are we getting traffic in that's not necessarily an appointment? Maybe they're just no good at making an appointment because you're selling more cars than that. So the deal is, you got to take a look at it for what it really all is. If I look at this here, wrong button. If I look at it here, month to date, sales funnel time, actual time. So, we've got that saved that way. I go take a look at what's going on here. I just want to know how much activity is happening here. And, 112 calls, 204 emails. I got that many tasks that are scheduled. I don't know. Am I really making an impact? And then which guy is doing the work and who's not? Or who's not registering the work? Or who's registering a bunch of activity but not selling any cars? So what are they doing? Just clicking to click? Keep the heat off? Those are great questions to look at. One of the things I would suspect over at the Greenfield store, because that's where we wanted to point the focus at first. Let's go take a look at what Marty did. That's your former manager, so he's got a little activity going on. 4 emails, 14 phone calls, nothing sold for the month that he's registered. I thought he went to sales. That, I think, is one of the new guys. That's your finance manager, I believe. What Vito recorded? 4 emails, 15 tasks. He might say, hey, I'm the GSM, I shouldn't have to do that. You know how you lead salespeople? Demonstrate, especially GSMs today. If you look at Sonic, Asbury, everybody has really gone to the model that the GSM is a working desking GSM. Should be able to take a turn in finance, take a turn on the floor, pencil a deal without a problem, appraise a car, right? But they also should be able to demonstrate the skill set that it takes to generate that traffic in the door. Manager should always be able to one-up the salesperson because he can bump a trade, he can negotiate a price, but the salesperson can't. So how do they get them in? Same tactic as a BDC. They still have to do the same thing. They got to sell an appointment because they can't pencil like the manager. But if he's doing a ton of pencils on the phone, then your funnel end result is not matching the flow, right? But I agree, could we get more? Yeah, we need to measure this. And then what I do is I always look at analytics. Here's an interesting thought. This is Auburn. This is at least the last week you can see, but you can kind of take a look at the whole month. But, well, you know, let's just look for the last week. Your association is driving more people to your website. To me, that's dangerous because you know in the association they not only send it to you, but if you don't respond in a certain amount of time, they also funnel it to the other stores in your association. Your chat on your website is your second, really your number one source, and then your website. I would never let the association outdo me. One of the things I suggested to Mike to check on and correct, or at least get the data on, what is their AdWord list campaign? What words do they buy versus me and even Mama Honda? You got to check that along with some of these vendors. CarGurus won't do that. They just went IPO. They just went public. You know, but who's buying Honda.com? There's TrueCar. These there's a couple of these that are just softwares that have nothing to do with driving business, but they're showing up as a referral to your website. Why is that happening? Either a vendor's doing it, Mike's doing it, internal employees, just like when they click your ad to go to your website so they can look at their inventory, they're costing you money. So we want to make sure whoever's driving us traffic to our website is really people that can drive somebody looking for a car, not Basecamp, which is a third-party software to do meetings and stuff on. How is that number 7? So I've explained to Mike, he's looking at that. One of the other things that was confusing as far as the messages go, if I click on the payments here, which, you know, you want to make sure people can get to real data fairly quickly, mobile or not. That looked clean. I go here, and of course the payment's a lot more. I might be stealing a little thunder from Greenfield. And see, this is DI. There's a little something going on with y'all's speed of your site, but there's that $295 payment. But you know, let's say I'm an engineer and I'm just smart, and I'm, you know, measuring, you know, that documentary fee, because a lot of people are picky about that, right? 170 registration fee. Let's say yours is higher than some of those rural stores, you know, or vice versa. They're just counting their pennies, right? If I add that up, $294.88 on your website, you don't even have exact numbers. And then I can challenge you with that statement right there, including the 6 1/4. 6 1/4 on that is more than that, and that doesn't even equal these. Just point to, you know, be considered. Looking at it from the consumer end. If I can toggle back and forth between your inventories, why aren't my numbers matching? I don't care about the association. I'm a consumer. I don't know that there's 2 different ones. You see what I mean? So that's something to consider of, does my strategy and tactic and what I'm showing my wares to the public make sense to the traffic that I'm counting and flagging as this is my business? You've got to get that dialed in. We're looking at traffic that we can count, and we know who's our biggest buddies, right? If I go to the Auburn store, Greenfield store, excuse me, Greenfield DI, and you can see the number 1 driver is the website itself, not even the associations on the top radar here. Automobiles.honda.com. That's probably a smart buy, but that's probably going to be an expensive buy. So that's something that you need to watch, make sure it's segmented. All your third-party vendors, a couple things that I would question: who the heck are they, and why are they here? Facebook was up there, and so something I asked Mike about on Facebook, I've got an algorithm that we've built that will take a Facebook posting, download it to Instagram and Twitter automatically so you get good saturation. But your guys, your salespeople, have to take the customer's phone, take a picture of the customer in front of their car, tell them to post it, and then tag our Facebook. Get the salesman to do that with his Facebook and his phone, tag our Facebook. Then I've got a two-way tag, right, with a message to an audience that's 3 layers deep on both sides. If you guys are not doing that, you're not going to see the organic traffic blow up on your website, because people are going to want to check you out because of the word on the street, so to speak. So there's a couple of things. I'm going to dig in deeper in VINs, look at some of the reporting. Really not hard. That's going to come down to process. Website, let's get a heat map. Let's see what the consumers are telling us by the way of clicks. Couple things, get the math fixed up and find out how can I make those messages be the same since I'm sharing inventory. Make it seamless, and then I don't know, if we're going to do coupons, let's use HTML format. Let's get it downloadable to a wallet. Yeah, it's a little mundane. It's a little mundane. We might need to, spruce it up a little bit. They don't get as flashy as they used to be, Chuck, just because of it's got to go from desktop to mobile fairly easy. My strategy is 60-40, mobile to desktop. And, really, you want to do about 90-10 Google, 10% Bing, especially with Honda. Honda is becoming prevalent in Bing. And there's a lot of other stuff I can show you in here, but we're just starting. And just on the up front, I wanted you to see what the consumer is going up against. And then if I go to mobile, it's not exciting. It's not exciting at all. Search bar, click to call, sounds good. I can click here, look at the cars, right? And, you can see how the boxes go, right? Hit my sandwich, or they call that the burger bars, right? And I can go into these drop downs, but you'll find that they don't do a lot of that. It's right here, and it's got to be right in front of them, a touch away, because most of the time, it's a shame to say, people are driving and they're clicking this stuff because they're already trying to head somewhere. Remember the motto, tier 1 and 2. That is obviously, the multi-million-dollar budgets that Honda and everybody else will do to drive this label. What we do as a retailer is focus on tier 3. Is the thing available, right? Am I getting a good deal? First of all, I'm confused between the deals you offer between the stores on the same car. But then second, is it available? And then third, is it near me? Is it close enough? Good steak, an hour, Instagram said this is the best place, let's go try it. We're going to be adventuresome like the TV commercials and go get this steak. Why couldn't I have that kind of experience that I could share on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter if I manage that right, which will help grow organically? And then one of the things I would be doing is, you're probably already spending money on Facebook if I remember the spend budget you sent me. But we need to moderate what that is, become more specific driven, and in that way measure the showroom traffic and phone calls, because it's not going to be all leads. You got to remember, internet leads is not what it used to be, and that's okay. Anyway, first review. I'll get with you guys before the week is out and discuss further. Thanks.